Hi there, this is the fifth video of the video series called Language Fallacies, and this video is about learning languages through grammar. I think you cannot learn naturally a language through grammar. Grammar can help you, but just look at the children. They don't learn grammar before learning the language. So we should learn like children, but we cannot because our parents do not speak the language that we are learning. So we replace this natural input by artificial input. It's to say using textbooks, videos, etc., etc. So this is the way we learn in a self-taught way. Yeah, grammar, when does it really help you? Grammar is actually helping you when you already have a basic knowledge of the language. Let's say you can read in the language, you understand the sentences, and you say that there are some dark points, some obscure sentence structures that you don't really understand. You can always flip through a grammar book, but eventually if you expose yourself a lot to the language, you will understand how to use those structures. It happened to me. Like I always take this example of the Turkish language because it has a very weird sentence structure. It's an agglutinative language like Hungarian, like Korean, and like a little bit like Japanese, when you have one word and you have to add suffixes to make longer words. Like I can give you an example. Ev, and like the word ev is house or home, and you can make a plural of it, like adding ler. Evler is plural. Evlerim is my houses. Evlerimde is in my houses. Like in English, you always add before the word house, and in Turkish you're adding after. Evlerimdeki. It's those who are inside my houses when you are speaking about an object, and so on and so on. And I have never ever learned any Turkish grammar rule. And some for in the box, in the bus, etc., etc. In Turkish, sometimes it's de, sometimes it's da, like okulda, at school, and sometimes you have to say evde, in the house. Other examples, you can say evrakta, in the documents, etc. And I just feel it. I know when I have to use ta, de, da, and I've never been told, like, if you have an a before the last letter, you should learn to say da. But if you have a at, you have to say ta, and so on and so on. And people who are learning in a formal context, like at school, they are given a lot of those rules, and they cannot apply it because it's normal. If you have never seen it in a normal text, or if you have never heard it, you cannot possibly memorize all those different conjugation tables and so on. Like how do you learn to conjugate verbs? You actually don't. It's kind of weird, but you don't do it. Like I've learned to conjugate Turkish verbs without learning conjugation. Is that even possible? Yes, it's possible, because everyone in Turkey has learned it like that, just by listening to other people speaking, by just inferring, okay, they are talking about two persons, they are conjugating this verb this way, so this is for you two persons, like you plural. So I know like to Yeah, to show, and Turkish is in present tense is gösteriyorum, gösteriyorsun, gösteriyor, gösteriyoruz, gösteriyorsunuz, gösteriyorlar. But I've never learned it in a table or like a rote memory. I just learned it in different contexts, and you know how to generalize the rule to different verbs because you learned it in a natural way. Meanwhile, if you learn it as in a table, you will know how to say it, like you will know how to say, how to conjugate a verb in a table, but when you are given the chance to speak with someone, you won't recall how to say we ate, like in the past, like in Turkish or in Arabic or in any language, in Spanish, or because you learned it in a very unnatural way. So to sum everything up, you should learn first through exposure, expose yourself to natural texts, dialogues, etc. for beginners, and then progressively you move on to intermediate textbooks, and then you try to read magazines, you try to listen to radio talk shows, you watch TV, and so on and so on. You are building your passive vocabulary, then you speak with native speakers, then sometimes you still don't understand a few things, but just ignore it. And just by ignoring grammar, you can reach a level where you can speak comfortably. And I think when you already know the language and you can communicate in uh, almost every situation of an everyday life, uh, any situation you would encounter in a everyday life context, you can move on to grammar points, and there you will nail it down because you have already learned like 300 hours or 200 hours. You have watched 30 films in this language, and you know more or less how it works. And when you read the grammar rules, you know what they are talking about. If you're a beginner and you read a grammar book, you won't understand anything. Yeah, I always say it. The only exception to it was Arabic. I had to learn Arabic to be able to learn to read without the vowels, but that's it. I didn't learn a lot of forms to know how to get the plurals of things in Arabic. I just read a lot, and you know that in Arabic it's very difficult, the plural, and there are irregular plurals. Like you say a pen is qalam, and two pens is qalaman or qalamain, and three pens is ثلاثة أقلام, so it changes completely, but you cannot learn it in tables and so on. You have just to read a lot and you will know the plurals of it's like a wall, you know the plural is hitan, and yad, you know the plural is ad, and so on and so on. You learn through context. So this is my video about it. Yeah, please comment it if you find it interesting. We can share thoughts, and have a nice day. Bye bye.